They expected me, a woman, on my knees, begging for closure. They wanted me broken, bitter, replaying the pain they caused. Instead, I became expensive, and now they cannot afford my attention. That was never their plan. Psychology calls this post-traumatic growth. When pain does not destroy a woman, it refines her. Some people invest in a woman's downfall because her pain makes them feel powerful. But the moment she rises, their power disappears, and all that remains is regret. I remember the night they thought they had won. A woman alone, heartbroken, questioning her worth. They fed on my brokenness, but they misjudged me. The floor they pushed this woman onto became her foundation. I used it to build my throne, and that changed everything. Every moment a woman spends proving herself steals her future. By the end of this, you'll see how I turned cruelty into power. This is not revenge. This is a woman becoming so elevated they fade into noise. I was at my lowest, alone in a quiet apartment. I replayed every word, every betrayal, every moment. They were out celebrating, telling people I was finished. In their minds, they had won. I felt humiliated and discarded, like my worth had been publicly erased. Part of me wanted to disappear and give up. The pain felt unbearable, but beneath the tears, a quiet voice spoke. It said, "Not like this," and that changed everything. Psychology calls this a catalyst moment. Pain either breaks you or refines you. People who invest in your downfall expect you to stay down. Sophia showed me how. Her ex spread rumors she was losing it. She stayed silent and chose healing. That night, I decided I would not stay broken. I would become so expensive their opinion vanished. They wanted a reaction from me. Screenshots, arguments, public breakdowns, anything to prove their story was true. I gave them nothing. I went silent and deleted social media. I focused on rebuilding myself, unseen. I disappeared from their radar completely, and that silence disturbed them. Every part of me wanted to defend myself, to prove I was fine and unbroken, but reacting would keep me in their story. So I chose a new one. Psychology says private healing transforms. Public healing performs for an audience. When you protect your process, you protect your energy. Sophia learned this too. When she stopped posting, he started searching. Her silence became her loudest statement. That's when I understood. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. I deleted contacts without explaining. I stopped going places that held the past. I unfollowed anything that disturbed my peace. If it didn't serve me, it left. No exceptions. No second chances. I became expensive by refusing cheap energy. At first, it felt extreme. I worried I was being cold or dramatic. Then I saw the truth. Why protect people who celebrated my pain? Psychology calls this radical boundary setting. Expensive women don't entertain low effort. Your energy is currency. Sophia showed me this. She blocked everyone without a word. Silence spoke louder than any explanation. That's when I knew. They couldn't survive in the life I was building. I stopped waiting for someone to save me. I became my own rescue mission. Therapy, books, early walks, journaling, Pilates. Healing became my full-time job. Every day, I showed up for myself, the way I once showed up for people who didn't deserve it. And this time, it was different. I was not healing to prove anything. I was healing because I deserved it. I stopped performing growth online. I lived it in private. Psychology calls this self-directed growth. Pain becomes fuel for transformation. Sophia showed me this truth. She disappeared for 6 months to build. When she returned, she was unrecognizable. That's when I knew I was not broken, I was being rebuilt. They baited me with subtweets, rumours, quiet attacks. Before, I would have defended myself. I would have fought for my reputation. This time, I didn't flinch. My peace became more valuable than their opinions. It took strength not to react, to not prove I was fine, but reacting was the trap. Psychology calls this ego detachment. When you stop controlling perception, you reclaim power. Their stories die without your reaction. Sophia proved it. He posted lyrics to get her attention. She smiled and kept scrolling. Days later, he deleted them. That's when I understood. The woman who doesn't react always wins, and I was ready for the final shift. I used to think expensive meant money and labels, but expensive is a woman whose time is protected, whose energy cannot be drained, and whose peace is not negotiable. I stopped replying to bored texts. I stopped giving access to low-effort men. I stopped shrinking for spaces that weren't built for my growth. That's when standards formed. Psychology calls this self-worth alignment. When your standards match your inner value, expensive women don't argue or convince, they remove access. Sophia stopped dating men who didn't plan. People called her picky. She called it standards, and the right man met them all. That's when everything shifted. Months passed, and I was completely new. New city, new goals, new energy. Then one of them reached out like nothing happened. I smiled. I read the message and never replied. Part of me wanted to prove I was fine, but I owed them nothing, not proof, not closure. Psychology calls this non-engagement. When you deny access, power disappears. Indifference is the moment they lose control. Sophia showed me this. Her ex sent a long apology. She read it once and stayed silent. His questions haunted him for months. That's when I knew I was unreachable. And that scared them more than anger ever could. I ran into one of them at a public event. For a second, I braced for old feelings, but nothing came. No anger, no sadness. I looked at them like a stranger. I smiled politely and walked past. They felt like furniture in the room, and that moment confirmed everything. I was not pretending to be unbothered. I genuinely felt nothing. Psychology calls this emotional neutrality, when someone loses all power over you. Sophia experienced it too. She forgot his middle name mid-conversation. He saw it in her eyes. That blankness told the truth. Indifference is the ultimate flex. 2 years later, I was in a new city. A career I loved. People who celebrated me, they stayed the same. Same drama, same cycles, explaining why people keep leaving. I did not gloat or post about it. I did not need them to know. Deep down, I understood the truth. Pain became fuel. The same hurt meant to destroy me built my life. Psychology calls this post-traumatic growth. Strength, purpose, and new possibility rise from trauma. Sophia lived this too. She was sipping champagne in Monaco. He was still in the same bar, same stories. That contrast said everything. The best revenge is elevation. Their opinion faded into noise. They thought they knew the woman who cried and begged, the girl who stayed when she should have left. But the woman I became was unfamiliar to them, and that unsettled them. I was strong, selective, expensive, and at peace. I was not bitter or chasing closure. I was free from their story and expectations. That freedom changed everything. Psychology says transformation is complete when you're no longer recognized. You are not who they tried to break. You are who the pain helped you build. And expensive means this: your time cannot be bought. Your energy cannot be drained. Your peace cannot be disturbed. Sophia heard it clearly. He said she had just changed. She hadn't changed. She removed access. That was the plot twist. They wanted me broken. I became expensive. They invested in my downfall because my pain made them feel powerful. The moment I chose to rise, their power evaporated. I was not broken. I was being refined, and the fire they lit became my forge. I used to think revenge meant proving them wrong, showing them what they lost. But real revenge is irrelevance, living so high they fade into noise. The floor they pushed me onto became my throne. Trauma can destroy you or refine you. Expensive is not money. It is a woman whose peace cannot be disturbed, and that woman is me. They expected me broken. Instead, I became expensive. I am no longer the girl they thought they destroyed. I turned pain into power and cruelty into my catalyst. They wanted me broken. I became expensive, and I never had to announce it. You were never meant to stay on the floor. Use it to build your throne. If this lit a fire in you, subscribe now. Tell me who underestimated you and what you're ready to close.